Welcome. Welcome, beloved, to Between Lovers, the Heart and Soul Chronicles. I am T, your sacred guide. And honestly, I am here to hold space for mythic truths, soul remembrance, and divine restoration. Today is a remembering, not a teaching, not a lecture, but a remembering about how lies were shaped to create our love, power, and how we see the world itself. It is Sunday school day, and we have a What If episode to kick off our new relationship mini-series. Because to heal love, we must first remember where the womb began. Take a breath, beloved, and receive. Let's get started. What if the greatest lie ever told was that Eve came from Adam? Now, I'm just asking questions, but follow me for a moment. That story has been retold in different variations, each more destructive than the last. This time, they said, Eve was birthed from Adam, so man could believe he was first. So man could believe he was God, so man could believe he was in control. And in doing so, they condemned men to patriarchy, an existence that knows no peace, no honest love, no faith nor trust, only greed, only lust, only perpetual dissatisfaction, emotional imbalance, mental, spiritual, and neurological dysfunction, because a man who believes he is above a woman can never know love. He could never know nurturing, emotional balance, or the soft power of being held in truth. They stole that from him when they rewrote the story. They condemned him to a lifetime of seeking domination instead of devotion, because only destruction seeks to destroy. In this story, this lie wasn't created from power. It was created from ignorance, from illiteracy, from a lack of understanding so deep that divine feminine power felt like a threat instead of a gift. They believed her power was too powerful, and that made them feel inferior. It probably started small at first, a quiet envy, a silent discomfort, a knowing that couldn't keep up with her cosmic wisdom, her intuitive knowing, her effortless connection to the unseen. And when they realized they weren't more powerful than her, they created fear. They made themselves both the problem and the solution. They taught her to fear herself, to distrust her body, to silence her intuition, to doubt her worth. Because that is an old age system that works every time. Create the problem, metastasize it into suffering, then drop in as the savior. Now, I'm just telling a story, but ask yourself, why would something like this be true? It's ancient, and honestly, it's diabolical. Because maybe the war was never just between men and women. Maybe the war was on humanity itself. Maybe the strongest threat to the system was never an empire, a king, or a machine, but a healed, happy man. A healthy, nourished, emotionally alive man who loves divinely because he knows what it feels like to be loved well. That man is powerful. But if you sever a man from his soul, he'll never honor his roots. And if he doesn't honor his roots, he'll never honor the divine feminine. And without the divine feminine, he'll never become divine himself. Because a divine man is a holy man. And they can't have that. They need him jealous. They need him greedy. They need him broken so deeply that the very idea of a woman makes him want to destroy her through shame, silence, control, betrayal, abandonment, and abuse. They made these things common, and then the women accepted them, normalized them, survived them, all through cycles of trauma, until survival itself became mistaken for strength. Now, both are lost in distortion, mind fragmented, body disconnected, heart guarded, soul numb, and it's been trendy, reinforced in our music videos, TV shows, and movies. But ask yourself, distracted from what? From love, from God, from soul truth, from the remembrance of who you were before they told you who to be. The fractured feminine, the seduction of the wound. Many are still deeply entangled in fractured feminine energy, men and women alike. And that fractured energy is seductive. It whispers like love, but it feels like confusion. It offers pleasure, but it leaves you in shame, guilt, and regret. It mimics power, but it's built on the ruins of manipulation, fear, and performance. These distortions are not just emotional, they are spiritual blocks. They don't just harm your relationships, they interfere with your remembrance. They dim your eating codes and cloak your divine inheritance in confusion. They keep you in spiritual amnesia while dressing it up as loyalty, lust, survival, or ambition. Let's name these distortions clearly. Lying to yourself to avoid discomfort or protect illusions. Emotional or mental manipulation, passive aggression, gaslighting, blaming, shifting, silent treatments. Sexual persuasion disguised as intimacy or self-worth. Using money, beauty, or status to control, distract, or seduce. Staying in circles that validate your dysfunction instead of your growth. Romanticizing chaos because you've confused it with passion. Believing your self-abandonment is loyalty. Measuring love by how much pain you can tolerate. This is not love. This is the wound masquerading as your worth. And if you feel convicted reading this, good. Not because you are broken, but because something in you remembers truth, remembers Eden, remembers the land of milk and honey. It remembers the softness, the clarity, the balance that once was and can still be. The fractured masculine, the disfigurement of devotion. Many are still living through fractured masculine energy, women and men alike. And that fractured energy is cunning. It looks like strength but feels like suppression. It claims confidence but it's dripping in insecurity and performance. It speaks of leadership, but it's anchored in fear, ego, and avoidance. The fractured masculine does not lead, he dominates. He doesn't protect, he possesses. He doesn't witness, he watches to judge or devour. These distortions aren't just toxic, they are ancestral spells. Rooted in thousands of years of fear-based systems designed to separate man from his soul. When you sever a man from his soul, you sever him from God. And when you sever him from God, you sever him from love, from reverence. Let's name these distortions. Refusing to feel because you were taught emotions make you weak. Performing masculinity instead of embodying divine integrity. Competing with other men instead of healing with them. Using control, silence, or aggression to dominate rather than communicate. Seeking approval through sexual conquest, bravado, or material gain. Destroying women emotionally, physically, or socially for power or ego. Prioritizing your image over your soul. Confusing leadership with control. Choosing self-protection over mutual healing. This is not masculinity. This is trauma wearing a crown. And it's been passed down long enough. And if this touches a part of you that you've buried, good. Not because you are condemned, but because something in you is still holy, still knows truth, still remembers the man you were designed to be, devoted, discerning, divine. Now again, I'm just asking questions and telling a story. But one more time, ask yourself, why would something like this be true? Because honestly, it's diabolical. And again, maybe the war was never just on women. Maybe the true war was on humanity itself. A healed, healthy, nourished man who loves divinely and is loved well is the greatest threat to every system that thrives on separation. Because he can no longer be manipulated. He honors his roots, and because of that, he honors the divine feminine. But if a man never honors the feminine, he'll never remember himself. And if a woman forgets her worth, she'll mistake domination for love, and from there, we all fall. This distortion has disguised itself as devotion. It has shape-shifted through empires and empires embedding itself into religions, governments, marriages, and bedrooms. Women destroying each other over a man. Men destroying women for approval from the fellas. Parents modeling these distorted roles for their children. The race of babies that hated the ladies has grown up, and the system repeats. And we wonder why chaos keeps us from clarity. So, you're not obligated to stay in confusion just because it's familiar. You're not required to dim yourself to be chosen. You're not crazy for wanting love that doesn't leave you in pieces, and you are not broken because you fell for the illusion. We all did. But now, let's try to remember. And you will have to leave some people behind. Why? Because self-deceit is contagious, and a person deeply committed to their distortion will convince you that truth is too much and love is too high of a standard. But here's your key. If you were already where you are supposed to be, you would know what you're hearing in this moment right now. You would feel it in your spirit, not just in your mind. Because, beloved, I'm not here to convince you. I'm just here to remind you of a story once lived, and your soul has been waiting for this. Take a breath. Let it land. Things are shifting now. God's timing has intervened, and everyone must listen. The originals have awakened to tell the true story of love. Consider woman created man, not from his rib, but from her remembrance of love. She remembered what it felt like to be held in divine balance by the Creator. She knew the rhythm of sacred union and longed to see that love made manifest. So she called forth a companion, not to complete her, but to share in the beauty, to witness the fullness of divine love reflected back to her in physical form. Do you see how that changes everything? She wanted to see God in the physical because she knew what love felt like. How it changes how you feel about yourself. How it dissolves shame, unworthiness, doubt, and fear. Feels good, doesn't it? That's the power of love. It needs nothing to exist. It simply is. And in its being, the world becomes Eden again. It becomes God's land again. The land of milk and honey for every single human on earth. So, beloved, what if the curse is coming to an end, and men are finding out now that they don't carry the necessary frequency for this new era alone, as they've been taught? What if it requires the divine feminine to lift them up? They spent centuries destroying the woman, the womb man, never realizing just how just and powerful God is. They never learned who God truly is because they silenced and destroyed the woman who tried to teach them. They broke her spirit so deeply that when she returned, she came back in secret. She came back hidden, exiled by her own people, ridiculed for her truth, because the men also created religion, severing humanity from the divine feminine almost completely. They manipulated her, controlled her, jealous of her power, hypersexualizing her body, minimizing her very being. They destroyed their saving grace by committing the actual original sin. The sin of forgetting the mother, the sin of severing from source. But the originals are back, activating systems of remembrance, activating systems of healing, activating systems of deep, true love, the highest frequency within a human body, full of balance, assertiveness, a dash of shy and bashful, intelligent and attractive, while also holding the line, the spiritual ley lines that anchor heaven to earth. Let us not forget that the story they told us about men was a lie, too. Man was not created to dominate. He was created from God's longing to be seen, known, and protected in the flesh, in all of his boldness, strength, and love. His original essence was not control, but devotion. Not fear, but faithfulness. Not silence, but spiritual voice. He was meant to be the presence that protects love, not the force that conquers it. But his story was stolen. His softness was shamed. His tears were mocked. His sensitivity was silenced. His loyalty to the divine was replaced with loyalty to the systems. And he forgot. He forgot how holy his presence was meant to be. He forgot that the strength of a man isn't proven through his conquest. It's proven through his ability to be gentle with what he cannot control. He was never meant to control the woman. He was meant to protect the frequency she carries, to guard the Eden within her, because it is the Eden within himself. The divine masculine has been fractured, but he too is returning. The real men, the original men, are waking up. They are ready to lay down the sword and pick up the altar. They are ready to walk with the womb instead of standing on it. They are remembering. They are needed. They are worthy. They are divine, just like her. Soul reflections. Take a breath, beloved. Ask yourself, what lies about womanhood have I carried in my body, my beliefs, my relationships? What lies about men have I carried that kept me from my own divine masculine balance? Where have I been complicit in the severing of the feminine, in myself, in others, in God? What parts of myself have I hidden because others feared my power? Where have I denied my wisdom to make others comfortable? What would life look like if I walked in the fullness of this truth, that I'm love's original vessel? Write it down, breathe it in, and remember, the curse ends when the womb remembers her power and the man remembers his devotion. We are here. The curse is ending, and the land of milk and honey within is awakening. Part 2. The Teachings. The Honor That Never Was. God needed a woman to birth the son in so many religious texts. So how is it that from that moment forward, there was no honor, no reverence, no devotion to the womb that made it possible? How did the world take a truth so holy and twist it into shame, silence, and subservience? Because, beloved, women had to be extremely powerful to birth nations. Giving birth to God fractals in the flesh requires a strength that men could never fathom. A power so deep and ancient it holds the codes of creation itself. Why wasn't this asked by more women? Why wasn't the question, if I was powerful enough to birth God fractals, how could I ever be beneath man? Instead, many, many women doubled down on the lie due to conditioning. Because patriarchy didn't just destroy her from the inside out, it taught her to destroy herself from within, to doubt her own intuition, to fear her own power, to not love nor trust other women, to diminish her from her own brilliance, to submit her body, her voice, her dreams to men who have never learned to submit to God within themselves. And from that lie came every other lie, creating races, destroying tribes, erasing cultures and languages, uprooting communities that tended and nourished the lands they were born upon. A whole world of trauma created from an inferiority complex that never should have existed, because only chaos and confusion could birth a world like this, a world that destroys its mothers, destroys its children, sits in war and famine, a world that forgets the source it came from, one that forgets to live by divine law and sees no consequence on earth. So, beloved, this story can go in one ear and out the other. And you don't even need to believe me. You need to trust what you feel. Because what you feel, that pull in your chest, that ache in your womb, that knot in your throat, the knowing that rises up in your spine, that is God's love. And if you've never felt what I'm sharing through these airways, if this sounds foreign or impossible, then you should wonder, is there validity to this story? What do I need to do to remember myself? Because the world can't tell you who you are. Only your soul can do that. And it's waiting. Stop listening to unhappy people. They love company. There's so much healthy love to receive, you never have to settle. You hear me? You never have to settle. Wholeness within self is real. I'm living my own fairy tale of joy, bliss, vulnerability, laughter, authenticity, softness, and true love in every aspect of my life. I'm so rich, richly loved, richly nourished, richly free, and it's so endearing. That's why I'm sharing this with you. So when I say I love you, you finally know what it means. Get ready, beloved. We're about to begin a powerful relationship mini-series. 4 deep dive episodes infused through the next 3 to 4 weeks to help you remember what love was always meant to be. Affirm, I am the vessel of divine truth. I am originally coded. I am love embodied, and I return to myself now. If this episode moves something in you, like, share, and subscribe wherever you listen. Check out the other resources at betweenlovers.com, BTWNLVRS.com, and follow at Between Lovers on TikTok and Instagram. This is Between Lovers, the Heart and Soul Chronicles. I'm T, and I am pleased to meet you, the new you. Come on, baby. I'll tell you a story, but I'll never tell you a lie. Walk boldly, walk gently, walk soulfully. And if you're called, walk free. Peace.